Hello, and welcome to our presentation on education as a right. We will be addressing the injustices experienced by first-generation students who are defined as those students who neither of their parents have obtained a college degree when compared to continuing generation students who have at least one parent with a college diploma. The context of our presentation is considering the transition of first-generation students transitioning from high school into college, as well as their success in completing college. First generation college students experience marginalization and discrimination. They experience systemic barriers and inequities. Usually, first generation students come from lower income and marginalized backgrounds, and they have less access to capital that could aid in their success, including financial, social, and cultural capital. They also have limited access to resources, including their families being uninformed about the culture of higher education. They receive less college prep courses in high school. They have financial limitations, and they're less likely to be connected to a professional network. They also experience intersectionality as their first generation status often overlaps with other marginalized identities, including race and social class, and this creates multiple barriers for them. There is an impact on social mobility as the lack of college degree impacts future economic mobility with lower wage ranges, leading to generational cycles of lower academic achievement and economic inequality. Finally, there are institutional barriers. An example includes colleges and universities that specifically offer scholarships and social events reserved for children of alumni. Academic culture also assumes familiarity with higher educational systems, processes, and structures, and there is a limited support and programs designed to meet the unique needs of first generation college students.
There are several systemic, structural, and historical implications of first generation college students having disproportionate access to support while enrolled in post secondary programs. Systemic implications often include limited social capital. First generation college students often lack access to supports that provide guidance on college applications, financial aid, and career exploration. This population report findings that they are not socially compatible with their continuing generation peers and do not feel as though they fit in. Ultimately, this impacts their self esteem and their feelings of fulfillment in the college setting. This population also experiences significant financial barriers, and with rising tuition costs and limited support, many students in this position may take on excessive debt or work multiple jobs. Research indicates that oftentimes first generation college students come from lower socioeconomic status and have decreased college retention and graduation rates, sometimes taking longer to complete their degree, lending to increased debt. As both a systemic and structural implication, many colleges may not provide sufficient advising, mentorship, or culturally competent support for this population, resulting in higher dropout rates. While many post secondary institutions offer specific support programs for this population, this is an area of growth for many institutions. Additional structural implications include mental health struggles found within the population experiencing disproportionate pressures of navigating college that can lead to heightened stress, anxiety, and imposter syndrome. Feeling unwelcome due to a lack of connection with peers and faculty can result in decreased sense of belonging in the higher ed system. With these significant issues, policy gaps exist as well. Federal and state financial aid policies may not adequately address the unique needs of this population. There has been growth in policies and programs utilizing grant funding to provide scholarships and related support for this population. In general, college promise programs or tuition-free grant-funded programs have been advanced at the local, regional, and state levels to promote equity in higher educational opportunities and outcomes, but there is much more work to do. Historically, colleges and universities were designed for wealthy legacy students, and many are still struggling to fully support first-generation learners, though they are one of the fastest-growing student groups, comprising 40 to 60% of college students. Because of the implications reviewed, they have the highest dropout rates, nearly 50 to 70% more likely to drop out than their continuing generation peers, many in their first year. This results in a label of being high risk and demands professionals focus on developing attempts to address the injustices.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth Derrickson, and I am going to talk about some of the attempts that have been utilized to address the educational injustice. So, the first is to increase peer networks and supports. First generation college students need to have a sense of belonging and they need to feel connected to all aspects of their school. One of the difficulties is that schools often take a one size fits all approach, and that doesn't account for unique cultural needs of the students. Another attempt to address the injustice is to provide more grant opportunities and more federal student loans. Interestingly enough, an increase in student loans did not actually increase application rates. Most of us know that the FAFSA process is very difficult to navigate, and first generation college students often don't have the supports that traditional college students do in completing some of that process. A third attempt has been to increase emotional supports. So many first generation college students do not have the same support networks that traditional students do, such as parents and friends. Also, to normalize self reliance as a strength rather than a negative. One of the barriers to this is that professors, the first line approach, right? Professors are not often provided with skills to support the unique challenges of first generation college students. First generation college students also usually have different life demands, maybe work schedules or time management that traditional college students do not have. So, in summary, a critique of the proposed solutions is they can be supportive for first generation college students, but the approaches must be tailored to individual students. Solutions need to be holistic and provide comprehensive support for students that they can easily access, not just at the beginning of their college career, but throughout their college career.
There are several proposed solutions for helping first gen students be successful in college. College success starts with college readiness. So, programs like the Upward Bound or Gear Up program provide federal grant money to recruit and support first gen students when they transition from high school to college. The Educational Opportunity Centers is another federal program that helps first generation adults apply for post secondary education. And a big component of both programs is financial literacy. Students need help with how to apply for financial aid, resources for scholarships, etc., in order to be successful in college. Once first gen students are in college, there are ways to support through Student Support Services, which again is a federally grant funded program that provides academic tutoring, advice, help with choosing college courses, academic counseling, financial literacy education. And we need services that ensure graduation. It's not enough just to get students into college. We want to ensure that they finish. And so there are additional services that help students through all 4 years of their education. Once first gen students are in college, there are ways to support through Student Support Services, which again is a federally grant funded program that provides academic tutoring, advice, help with choosing college courses, academic counseling, financial literacy education. And we need services that ensure graduation. It's not enough just to get students into college. We want to ensure that they finish. And finally, advocacy is needed to increase funding for these programs that will support first gen students. Federal funding cuts have actually threatened these programs recently, and so there's a need for campus wide advocacy at local institutions. There's need for statewide advocacy and federal advocacy. What you can do, you can contact your federal and state legislators to encourage them to support grants for first gen students. And there's a link there to finding your Congress member. You can volunteer in local TRIO programs. That's the overarching set of programs that were discussed in the earlier proposed solutions. And you can donate money, increase awareness, and vote for programs that support first gen students.
Relational cultural theory provides an ideal framework for first generation college students by highlighting growth through connections and identifying disconnection as the source of psychological problems. RCT addresses first generation college students' experiences through disconnections in academic environments, power dynamics perpetuating marginalization, reframing resilience as relational competence, and confronting how dominant systems silence non traditional perspectives. Our solutions apply RCT through peer mentoring and faculty alliance programs that create growth fostering relationships. This approach is effective because it addresses both individual student needs and institutional power structures, making it uniquely suited for first generation college students navigating academic environments not designed with their experiences in mind. Relational cultural theory transforms our approach to first generation student success by creating connections throughout the educational journey. Teams develop relational awareness in college prep programs to break down power barriers. For returning adults, we honor lived experiences through authentic relationships and opportunity centers. Financial literacy initiatives acknowledge socioeconomic contexts, while campus support systems prioritize growth fostering relationships that enhance belonging. For graduating students, we implement the 5 Good Things framework and mentoring programs. We also mobilize communities of resistance for systemic advocacy. These approaches yield enhanced relational competence, stronger belonging, improved retention, and academic confidence. By centering relationships, we create pathways where first-generation students thrive.